Hello and welcome to episode 75 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers, by scale modelers, for scale modelers. And this episode is brought to you through the generous support of John Pisano, our latest Patreon supporter. If you would like to join the hallowed ranks of supporters, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 upwards. Your support of the show is greatly appreciated and helps to contribute towards our production costs. The Scale Modelers Supply lacquer paints are a new and exciting range of paints specifically designed for the scale modeler. SMS paints have been formulated for airbrush use on a variety of scale model mediums, such as plastics, resins, and even metal. Being designed for airbrush use, all the guesswork with thinning ratios has been completely eliminated. All you need to do is give the sturdy glass bottle a good shake and then simply pour and spray. And of course, being an acrylic lacquer, they are tough. Much tougher than water-based paints and are very fast drying, giving you more time at the bench. SMS paints have a massive range of colours to choose from that will suit any scale model, including Gunpla, car, science fiction, aircraft, military, and even trains. And did we mention they also do a variety of weathering products, brushes, tools, and accessories? Go and check out the full range and find your local stockist by typing in scalemodeler.com.au or simply punch in SMS paints to your search engine. And hey, great news if you're in the US and Canada, SMS paints are now available through usagundamstore.com. So give SMS paints a try. I know you'll be happy with the result. And hello and welcome to the show. And of course in the studio I have Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day listeners.
And of course Julian, the effervescent.
You're going to have to learn some more words.
The forever young.
Oh yeah, forever
The
young.
forever young.
No one's forever young, come on.
So gentlemen, what's been happening since the last podcast? We'll start with you, Ian.
Oh, I've been battling with that Airfix monstrosity.
Oh no.
The Canberra bomber.
Yeah, how's it been going?
Honestly, and I'm not going to win any fans here, but Airfix should hide their heads in shame.
Oh really?
It is overpriced for what you get.
Yeah. How much you pay for it?
It's about $83 Australian.
For a 148 scale?
Canberra bomber.
Yep.
Fair enough. It's a large aircraft,
Yep.
but there's not much to it.
Yeah.
And you'd think that with that amount of money, you'd at least have some cockpit detail.
Yeah.
That was correct. You wouldn't have panel lines that would make Matchbox in the 1970s blush. You wouldn't have any part that's over an inch long that's warped.
Oh.
It is it is probably one of the worst kits I've ever had to battle. And honestly, Airfix, you suck.
Jeez. Scathing review.
Yes, a very scathing review. But I am determined to actually build this thing.
It's a 2007 mould.
2008.
2008, okay. Right.
You'd expect a lot more for 2008.
Was it a new tool in 2008?
Correct. Brand
Okay.
new kit 2008.
Yeah.
You'd expect so much more.
So that was in their days before Hornby had taken over. That was they were in their decline during that period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which probably has a bit to do with it.
Yeah, probably.
But then they shouldn't charge that much. If it was half the cost, it wouldn't faze me.
I wonder about the cost because, and this is where we go through third parties. So generally there's a distributor in each country. So they'll buy it for, say, $20 and then they'll sell it to the modelling
they'll put their 5%
hobby
on.
and the rest.
Yep.
I reckon they'll probably double it. They'll sell it for $40 onto the hobby shop. And then the hobby shop puts their double up again and there's your $80. So
yeah. It's not $80 worth of materials, is it?
Oh, no.
Nah,
You're probably about a 10.
I knew that would
tops.
come up, right? See, I'm not convinced that the cost of plastic factors into these kits that much.
No, it doesn't. The
You
plastic's probably the cheapest part of the kit.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like the box,
The
instructions.
Decals is where the money is.
The mould, they're actually developing the mould
Yeah,
itself.
developing the mold's a big thing.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yep.
I don't think the plastic actually matters that much.
No, plastic's next to nothing.
No.
Because people often say that. They're like, oh, well, at least you're getting a lot of plastic there. It's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. You melt it down, it's still going to have a ball smaller than your hand.
And you nearly got caught on the cockpit, didn't you? Because the kit comes with 3 seats.
3 bang seats. And I don't know much about Canberra bombers, so I just put all 3 seats in. And then one of our listeners, Troy Henderson, pointed out that, Ian, Aussie Canberra's only with 2-seaters.
That's right.
They got rid of the bombardier, and the navigator was the bombardier.
Yeah, yeah.
So he has to just scoot from his seat down to the nose, do the bombing run, and then scoot back to his seat behind the pilot.
Well, it was a good save before you closed it up.
It was, yes. Well, I won't be closing it up yet because I've ordered in some Ushi malleable lead.
Oh, okay.
putty.
Yeah.
So I can put that because the last thing I want to do is have a thing sit on its ass.
Well, what else could go wrong?
Exactly. So I'll be hooking into that over the weekend, except for Sunday, because Julian and I on Sunday we're going to the Tyre Bear Show.
Ooh! And what's flying at the Tyre Bear Show?
A P40F, which is a very rare bird.
Yes.
You don't see many F model P40s around. I think there'll be Wirraways, boomerangs.
The boomerang is awesome to see fly.
F4U5.
Ooh.
So I'll finally get to see a Corsair in real life.
Yeah.
I think is it Argentinian markings?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because
it used to be, to my knowledge, that actual aircraft used to be an F4U5N.
Right.
That was a night fighter variant.
Oh, was it?
Before it was sold off to the Argentinians.
Wow. And you should also see an Avenger.
Yes, the
torpedo
Avenger
bomber.
will be there, yes.
Yep, which is great.
Yep.
Whenever I see an Avenger in person, the fact that it's almost got like multiple levels inside, it kind of reminds me of like a London bus.
Yes, yeah, like a 2-story bus.
Wait till you actually climb inside one, like I did over in Canada.
Oh.
Oh, they're awesome inside. Absolutely,
to me they sound underpowered. When they fly,
and they look underpowered. It's such a large aircraft.
Yeah,
You know what I think it is? I think it's like the sort of taper on the nose.
Yeah.
Because it almost looks like the width of the fuselage is wide, and then you got like this undersized engine on the front.
Yeah, it tapers down to that small engine. It sounds tinny.
It's a big bird.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
It doesn't sound anywhere as good as a boomerang.
And of course,
the boomerangs sound awesome.
And of course, there'll be a Mustang, and there'll be a Spitfire flying there.
Yep.
A Trojan, which also always sounds brilliant. I love the Trojan.
You're a rare one. I can't
Really?
stand. I reckon they're boring, ugly things.
No.
You may as well have a Gannet. Or one of those French bombers from the 1920s.
Are there any Gannets still flying? Does anybody know?
Oh, probably maybe one or two, maybe one flying in England somewhere.
I know.
But I know there's one at Moorabbin down here, but that airframe's bent like a banana because apparently when it came in for landing, the carrier hit a big wave and just slammed it as it came down.
Oh, jeez.
So it's like it got a nice bend to the fuselage.
The Gannet's a weird looking thing. It always to me, it looks like a guinea pig or something.
The guinea pig.
Yeah, like the sort of like it's this chubby thing with a funny snout and.
Do you know what it looks like to me?
What?
That someone slipped LSD in the water bottle at the design studio, and everyone just decided to have a bit of fun.
Oh, you know what it also kind of looks like? The 3-headed fish from The Simpsons, you know?
Oh, the 3-eyed fish.
Yeah, like it's got way too many sort of appendages and things, you know?
Yes. But apparently they were a pretty decent aircraft.
Oh, they were. Yeah, they were. And that engine's very complicated. The Mumbo, which was like a...
Mumbo or Mambo?
Mambo.
What kind of a name is Mambo for an engine?
I don't know. The English have funny names for their stuff. Yeah, no, I reckon it looks... Because it's so ugly, it looks pretty, which sounds really silly.
I get that with a lot of other things, But not the Gannet.
Yeah, not the Gannet.
Not for me,
Not
anyway.
the Gannet. No, you can have the Gannet.
Well, you guys can forget that. Anyway, Julian, what have you been up to?
Well, after I finished the CR42,
Yep.
and the Sherman, I haven't done too much because I've got this BF 110 that I'm working on.
I still led wide 72 scale one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
What 110 model is it? C, D,
I think I want to say G4.
G4. Yep.
I think.
Is it a
Night Fighter?
Yeah. Usually, very common G4s with Night Fighters.
It's all over. It's one color, all over.
Oh, that
RLM 76.
76, that blue grey.
Yeah. So I'll have to get something. I'll have to get a bit creative with the shading and stuff to sort of break it up.
You can't choose another one, can you, with mottling?
It's only got one scheme in the box.
Well, just because a box, that doesn't mean you have to go with that one scheme. You can make it whatever you want.
Buy a decal set.
Yeah. I had a look online. I'm like, there's nothing sort of within arm's reach. I'm not waiting for this thing. I'm just going to keep chugging along. But I haven't done much to it because I got to putting seatbelts on, and I'm just going to use tape to create seatbelts.
Oh, the Tamiya tape method. Yep.
Yeah, and I did that last night, but I was procrastinating for a long time. Like, I took one attempt at it like a week or two ago, and it was sort of like, well, these are too short. I'm gonna have to cut up some new ones that are longer because I didn't think these would be that short. And then I just sort of procrastinated over it. But I found a good thing is I found the clear sprue that has the goggles for my Sherman figures.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah.
Well done.
So I'll I don't know, white glue them on or something.
Yeah.
White glue them on and then
Bit of white glue, yeah.
paint the
frames
for them, yeah. Oh well, at least they won't look weird with straps that run up to their forehead and then
stops
there.
So is this a version with the radar?
Radar?
Oh, the 110.
Yeah.
The 110 with the radar.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of different radars.
Yes.
For 110s.
A lot.
Yes.
Our friend Steve Keogh, he's got a whole bunch of 110s in on the go because he builds them all simultaneously.
Yep.
And he did a lot of work. So I went to him. I sent him an email asking do you know anything about this particular plane, because he's got all these resources on 110s, and he couldn't find much. He found one photo, and that's about it, which is somewhat disappointing, but also good in a way because it's well, at least no one can say I did it wrong.
Yeah.
True.
And so I mean, I was sort of hoping that there would be some kind of peculiarity about it that I wasn't in the scheme or whatever, but it's got he's done a whole bunch of 110s, and he's got all these different. He had to scratch build all the different nose antennas. There's a different one for each because there's no kits or anything like that for all those noses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the antenna being done in photo etch, or is it just plastic?
No, it's just plastic. So it's got sort of your typical sort of four prong type things that come forward of the nose, and then it's got the arm parts that are off of it that are on a 45-degree angle.
Yep.
When you look at it down,
one or two per rod.
I think it's two.
Two, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 blades per rod. Yep.
I really want to do at some point I want to buy one of those sort of master barrel sets or whatever it is, so you can do all the brass antennas on the nose.
Yeah, you do that.
That'd be nice.
48 scale.
Yeah, in 48 scale, you can.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they'd be they'd be like needles at 70-second scale. There's no way.
70-second scale, you'd sneeze and that'll bend.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it'd be nice if someone did a cast bronze or brass or something like that. Set of, those
That'd
antennas
be
on the
fine
nose.
In cast. In
Well,
72.
I just want them so that they don't. I don't have to glue them together. That's all I care about. The idea of what would you do? If you bought one of those brass sets and they actually gave you the arms as well as the actual sort of cross bits, would you solder them together?
Yep.
Oh, really? Would you? I'd glue.
Oh, hang on. If it's that small, no,
That's small.
Yeah, if it's that small, glue. Yeah.
In 48 scale, I mean.
48 scale.
48 scale, definitely glue.
Yeah, glue them, yeah. Solder's good, if you're folding boxes and so forth. Gives it extra rigidity.
Well, that's like, see, a lot of the sort of cool stuff that I want to get my hands. So I want to do the antenna thing, but I'm not that enthused about building a German aircraft. I don't really care.
Yeah, I've gone right off the Luftwaffe stuff myself too.
Yeah, I mean, like the only thing that interests me is like getting my hands on that sort of bling, you know. You know, like I see certain things like that, and I just like, I'd like to do that, you know.
Yeah, I just want to pick myself up a couple of new float planes.
Oh yeah,
I want to get a Hasegawa Pete. Because you've got one of them, and that's a nice kit.
It is a nice kit, yeah.
And I want to get a roof, but I'm not sure which brand would be the best, a Hasegawa or Tamiya. Well, Tamiya want to be old, wouldn't it?
A roof. Which one's a roof?
That's the Zero float plane.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Hasegawa one's a bit rough.
It is rough,
It's surprisingly rough for like a Hasegawa kit. It's not on par with like their new ones.
So you're probably better off getting the old Tamiya kit.
No, I think the Hasegawa one's still better though.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Robert build one of those. Not like when we did the last club display last year.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe he did one for that, and you know he had to do some scratch building for the oil cooler that's in the main pillar that runs down to the main float.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Hasegawa dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, like, you know, the Pete that I did has a similar sort of setup. You know, it's got a big main float in the center, so they put the oil cooler in there.
Yeah, because my next purchase is going to be the new Trumpeter Langley CV1.
I know. You need to stop buying boats, all right?
Why? No, he doesn't buy boats. He buys ships.
I buy ships.
Oh god, yes,
big ships.
Because they're really huge projects, right?
Yeah.
And like the last time you did one, you felt overdosed on modelling.
So tell me, with the USS Langley, has a aftermarket manufacturer come out with the?
I have no idea yet.
With the PE, because
I have no idea yet, but it will be.
That would be. You'd have to have photo etch for that to bring it to life. There's no way you could do the plastic kit and do it justice, because it was just.
Yeah, there's just too much structural work.
Oh yeah.
And it looked great with all that structural work.
Oh yeah,
it's like a floating warehouse, but without any of the walls on.
Yeah,
well, yeah, exactly.
I think it was just a converted cruiser or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
but it would be so cool with all the early aircraft on it, and I just reckon it would be really good. Yeah, so that's going to be. So I'll be doing another B&A order this week.
Oh, there we go.
Because my spreadsheet's now going all my lines are now going green, because I'm getting all the detail sets I want for all my kits.
Ah.
So I've spent nearly. I spent well over $1,000 in the last 2 weeks.
Holy cow! Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow. You've been going nuts.
Oh yeah.
But it's ship stuff, you know.
Not just shit. No, I've been buying stuff for aircraft as well.
Yeah, I know. That's
I bought these
that's how
really
it got
nice
up that high,
HGW stencils for me Hellcat, and they're those decals you put on, and when you're finished, you peel the carrier film off. So all you're left with is the printing.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So hang on.
So it's like a normal water slide decal.
Yep.
With the carrier film, you put it on there.
Yep.
Once it's settled and dried.
Yep.
You can lift the carrier film off.
Yep.
And it just leaves the printed.
Seriously?
So they're a bit like dry transfers, right?
Yeah. Except you apply them wet.
Well, because I've had trouble with the dry transfers that you rub on.
Oh, me too. I bought a set for me. What was it? The Dragon. No, it was the old. What was it? Dragon. It was the old Dragon Elephant, the German anti-tank machine, and I bought some Archer dry transfers.
Yeah.
The problem was that when they were sent, they must have put something really heavy on top of the package.
Oh.
And they were all pretty much nearly 90% of the transfers
were
already applied to the backing sheet. And you couldn't, once they're applied to the backing sheet, you can't get them off.
Yeah, see, I had, I think it was Pontos had some dry transfers, and I think it was USS New York that I was doing the LPD. And as I was rubbing it, it was rubbing all the paint off the photo etch deck that I'd painted and put on. And yeah, I had to, it was crazy. So I don't see the point of dry rub-on transfers.
I've used them a few times, and I reckon they work great.
No, I've never had any luck. Well, mind you, I was doing it on top of photo etch, which is perhaps not the best thing to do.
Still, it shouldn't be ripping the paint off.
No, because as I was putting it down, I was rubbing it, and as I was rubbing it, even lightly, it was causing the paint to lift off the photo etch.
Oh, so the paint wasn't sticking to the photo etch.
Only where I was rubbing the dry transfer on.
Yeah. So for future, you probably might want to etch it, put a bit of etch primer down before you put the colour down.
Yeah, I'd done a.
Did you sand the?
Oh, I can't remember now.
Give it a sand. So
you probably didn't, because in most cases you wouldn't need to, right?
Yeah.
This is like very unusual circumstances for a ship model, you know.
Yep.
It's the kind of thing where you would maybe plan for it now, but
I would. And in fact, if I was doing it again, I'd use the wet decals rather, or I'd paint. I'd just do the stripes myself.
I've never used dry transfers. Can you still put like decal softener on them, or
on dry transfers? No,
no,
you don't need to.
Okay, so how do you get them to nestle into like panel lines and things, or is?
Well, once you got them on there, then you're just very careful with a toothpick. Just drag the toothpick along the panel line very carefully, and that embeds it into the panel line.
Okay, I'd rather not do that.
Yeah, I'd rather not do that. Yeah.
I mean, you know, like on the CR42, it's got like the main insignias on the wings. They go over these like sort of raised sort of hingy kind of things for the ailerons, and you know I had to apply quite a bit of decal softener for that, but it all went down nicely. You know, I wouldn't want to deal with that if I was using dry transfers.
No. In that case, you'd probably just knock that little bit out and paint it. Colour match it and drop a bit of paint.
I suppose, I guess you dry transfers are more of an armour model thing, is it?
They are, yeah.
Because you're more likely to put it on like flat-sided.
Yep. And ships like hull numbers as well. They have it for dry transfers for hull numbers and the sides of ships. But with my experience, I'd never use dry transfer again.
No,
I just no.
I can understand that.
Because if you rub it on, and if you've got any issues with the paint underneath, even though under normal circumstances the paint would stand up to it, you got to remember you're actually rubbing onto the paint. So if you've got any issues with your paint, that's when the issue is going to show, because you're putting pressure onto that point,
you're stressing the point.
And then once it doesn't work, then you've got to sand that whole area back, repaint that whole area, and then use a normal decal on it anyway. So.
I can see how that would be, pretty crucial on a ship model, because it's not like it's on a lot of ship models you may not have that second chance to be able to paint something a second time, right?
I just hate the idea of having to go back over something and redo it again. It just annoys the.
Oh, that annoys me too. But I mean, like there are certain scenarios where it's like you would only want to, like, for example, if you got like all those photo etch railings and all those sort of things in the way, like cause they're superstructures and things, and you have to put a little something on like the superstructure, and you have to repaint that again, but the deck's a different color. It's like, well, what are you gonna do then?
Yeah, lots of tricky masking. Lots of tricky masking.
No.
Yeah, I think there are certain very specific scenarios where you've got one chance to paint it.
Yes.
And if you have to do it a second time, it's never going to be as good as the first.
Totally agree.
Oh, screw that.
So what about you, Dave? What have you been up to?
Well, absolutely nothing. I got sent away to a town called Orbost, which is in eastern Victoria. Believe it or not, for the fires that are still going. I think it's day 105 for that particular fire when I was there.
That's a long time. Nearly a third of the year.
Yeah.
So this one was like low on the priority list or something?
Not so much that. It's been sort of stooging around and in areas that they couldn't get to. So it's pretty much all over. It was listed as contained, which means that they've got it all under control. And then when I was there, it sort of got up and had a bit of a run again. So it was listed as not contained. But the interesting thing is we had a whole heap of rain come through just a couple of days ago. So I think that's pretty much knocked it on its head. And it was really great because I got to meet a whole heap of Americans from Montana who are out here helping us. So they were a really cool bunch of dudes and knew what they were on about. So it was really good. It's just amazing how
the world's just joined in and helped us with this.
Well, not so much that. I know with the Canadians and with the Americans and New Zealanders, because all four countries are sort of so used to working with each other with fires. The training at incident management level is so similar that it's easy for people from around the world just to slot in and do the roles that they've got to do. It's just, So, had some.
If only there was the same level of cooperation in building models, and we could all use the same sort of standards, right?
Well, there is. It's just, you just got your loonies who believe in future, and you get your other loonies who believe in not using future, and
undercode or not to undercode.
Yes, that's right.
My opinion on future is I don't use it, but if you want to use it, you go ahead and use it.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've stepped away from it. In fact, I've got nearly a full bottle out there, which I'll take to the next model club meeting and see who. I'll put it on the table and say it's free. Then I'll stand back, and whoever grabs it, that's the loony of the club.
You know what'll happen?
What?
Someone will go, "Oh, that's mine," and they'll grab it, right?
Yeah.
And no one else will be interested in it.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, it's a good way of identifying which one's a loony. Look, and I mean that in all good fairness. Just because you use future, good luck to you. I just, I think that the actual products that come out from modelling companies are a lot more.
I agree.
Better than future. I mean, Hamish is a good friend of ours. He's a big believer in future, and he's had some really bad experiences with it.
Where it's just cracked up on him.
Yeah, that big Globemaster.
What I don't get is, like if you don't really have problems with future, then I don't see why you shouldn't keep using it.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
But people will go through catastrophic problems with future, and then they'll keep using it.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. I mean, why would you go back to a product that's that volatile?
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, if I have a bad event with one particular,
I mean, like you just named one with the dry transfers, right?
Yeah.
One bad experience.
I'll never use them again.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's the same with paint companies like Humbrol had their was it their gloss or their semi-gloss or something, and I used that in my airbrush, and it took me weeks to clean my airbrush out, and I had a really piss poor bloody result. I'll chuck that away. I'll never use that again.
All the stakes are high with you because you build so many ships.
Well, not so much.
You can be like 100 hours deep on a model, and then if something like that happens, you're like, well, I just lost days.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, but also because I'm that time poor, I don't want to spend 6 months sitting there and having a chemistry set trying to get everything to balance to work properly. I just want to buy it in the jar, pour it in the airbrush and shoot it, and I want it to work.
Yep.
I don't want to have to sit and go, you need to use 6% of, newt's eye and 4% of frog leg to mix it in.
5 drops of Sinister Sauce.
Exactly right. I don't want to do that. I just want to get something off the shelf, pour it into my cup and just spray it. And I want it to work consistently each time.
Yeah. You want to minimize the hassles.
I want to minimize the errors. Exactly right. I mean, I've got enough issues sort of sometimes battling with seams and, and
melting
plastic, which is, God.
We're never going to let you live that down, Dave.
Well, that wasn't my fault.
Oh, no.
You know what? No, and that's another great example. That was Revell glue.
Contactor.
Yes. And you know what? You go to my model room, you'll not see any of it because I chucked it away after that.
I still use it.
Well,
occasionally, not very often, but occasionally, if I was a part needs a slow setting that I want to be able to adjust, I'll use that.
I hung on to mine for quite some time, and then I realised the other day that it's not there, and I don't know where it is, and it's disappeared at some point.
Well, I found an old model kit the other day, and I opened it up, and they supplied their own glue in the little silver tube. That little silver tube, and I thought, oh no, that's going straight in the bin.
And yet,
God knows how old it is.
Tamir Extra Thin has never let me down.
And it's good. And it's a good decal set too.
Yeah, no, I tried.
If you game and
I tried it once and it destroyed the decal.
No, I haven't had it destroy any decals yet. I've used it a few times, and if you want to get in those really horrible spots where decal softener just isn't going to do it,
well, it's the last resort, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, because you're already staring at a failed.
And what decal. It basically does, it basically melts it to the paint.
Yeah.
So you just put a very small amount, because the more you put on there, then it starts affecting the ink, and then you end up with a big mess. So you got to be very careful. And
so basically,
you're just using the vapors off the brush.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You should look like a dry brush almost.
Well,
it works.
Yeah, it works. But geez, I tell you what, when it doesn't work, and I found out it didn't work for me. And
well, like I said, it's a last resort.
Well, it was a last resort, so I thought, well,
it's already failed, so you're not losing anything, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, it's going to bin the model anyway, so I thought I'll just try this, and it still didn't work.
that well.
I was on another note. I mentioned last podcast about me mate Andrew Webb. He's pretty much got his OV1 finished.
It's wow! Just been building that fast.
Yeah, he's painted the figure, and the figure looks really good next to the photo of the actual guy he's portraying.
Yep.
Yeah, he's doing, and he does he's all done with a hairy stick.
Wow.
I've been trying to convince the guy to get an airbrush, but he reckons where he lives in Georgia in Eastern Europe, that very hard to get airbrushes.
Well, it's not. It's a thing called the internet.
That's what I reckon. He should just buy one. Or someone there who lives around the Georgia area, donate him an airbrush.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, with a hairy stick, he does a pretty good job.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Pretty good job.
Yeah.
I saw an airbrush. Double action airbrush looks like any kind of a wider type airbrush. I'm sure it's nowhere near as good.
No.
It was like $12.
Yeah.
$12.
The most
for
expensive
an airbrush.
part. The most expensive part will be buying a little compressor.
Yeah. But I mean, like compressors. When you think about it, if your chances are everyone knows someone who's got a compressor, and you could just go, "Oh, do you mind if I borrow your compressor for the weekend?"
And airbrush compressors, they're not big.
No.
If you got a motor, you can probably strap to the back of a motorcycle seat. You'd be laughing.
It's the kind of thing that people give away, like not necessarily give away, but it's the kind of thing that they get rid of if they don't have an immediate use for, and only we would have an immediate use for it, right? Like a constant use for it.
I would prefer a bigger compressor, but that would be probably stored outside with an airline going in.
Yeah, but it'd be noisy outside still.
Yeah, but you only have to run it once every week.
Yeah, well, that's true. Speaking of airbrushes, that's a very good segue into our listener mail, actually, because we've got an email from Andrew Mills, and of course, if anybody wants to get in contact with us, they can by sending us an email to onthebench64@gmail.com, just like Andrew has. So Andrew writes, "G'day benchers, another beginner question, but first I wonder if it's occurred to you that you're a virtual model club."
We are?
Virtual model club, yes.
For people like me who can't get to a club because of shift work or other reasons, you three provide the info, laughs, news, reviews, and tips you'd normally get at a club, so thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Back to the question. Andrew wants to know, do I need one airbrush for fine lines, like pre-shading rivet lines in aircraft, and one for general spraying, or can one do the job for both? Thanks, guys. Andrew Mills.
Okay. Usually when you buy an airbrush nowadays, you get multiple needles and tips.
Generally three.
Usually 0.2.
It depends. I would say this depends on how expensive you go, because the more expensive you go, the more it just becomes just a one needle show.
Exactly.
And then you can modify it.
Your general airbrush, you're going to get about 2 or 3 different needles.
Yeah, the sort of middle range
from
ones.
0.2 going up to I think 0.7 or something like that, to larger.
Yep.
You can use that same airbrush for everything. What Julian and I'm pretty sure Julian is the same, we have separate airbrush we use for metallics.
Yep.
And the reason for that is because you spray metallics, you clean your airbrush out, you give it a good rinse, you give it a good polish, you make sure it's clean, run a bit of thinners through it, put a colour through it, spray the colour, bang, you got little metallic flakes popping up. Mm. And that is nothing more annoying than that. Mm. So thus, that's the reason I have 2 airbrushes for main painting. One for colours, one for metallics. So the only thing that goes in that one airbrush is metallics, so I don't have to worry about contaminating my paint. I have a cheaper, larger airbrush, which is a big one, and that's just for doing large areas. But as you said, just the one. One airbrush should do him fine.
Yeah, so like a general purpose airbrush would be an airbrush with a 0.3 needle.
Yep.
Like larger than that is like 0.5, 0.7, and they're all sort of. I mean, they do okay, but I mean, you can't. It's a bit hard to do Luftwaffe models and other sort of little shady sort of things.
Oh yeah, with a large fan.
You can't really do that. It's not really good. But 0.3 can do it. That's good. It's a good general purpose one. And then if you've had that for a year or 2 or even longer, and then you feel like you want to get a better one, you want to get another one that's better or something like that, then you pick a second one that's a bit more focused.
And if he wants to do modelling and he's got a large airbrush and wants to do modelling, well, the best way I can think of getting around that would be to cut out some little stencils.
Yeah.
And actually don't hold the stencil up against the plastic. Hold it about 2 mil away from the plastic, so at least you're going to get a feathered edge. when you spray your mottling.
Yeah, I mean, like basically, you don't want to aim to have 2 airbrushes off the bat.
No.
What you do is you start with one general purpose one, and then you go, I wanted something else, and then you put your old airbrush on secondary duties, right? Like metallics or something.
Exactly, that's what happened with mine. My new airbrush is for colours. The old airbrush went to metallics.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna. I think I've got 3-4 airbrushes now. So in each airbrush, I've got a different needle, so I don't have to stop and change needles anymore for each individual airbrush. So I've got one at 0.2, and one's point whatever, and the other one's point whatever, and obviously the fourth one for metallics, just like you guys as well.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to have one that's just for running varnishes and that type of stuff
and
as
clear
well.
coats.
Because they're so cheap now, airbrushes, and they do a good job. So you can buy an airbrush that does a relatively decent job for about $30-40 nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's perfect for just running
Straight
coats.
Straight coat, yeah.
Yeah. It's when you're getting down to your really fine work that's where you want to spend the money on a reasonably
like
decent
Julian
one.
has.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've got 2 airbrushes, right? I was going to say only, but that sounds really sort of. Oh, look at me with my multiple airbrushes.
You're an elitist.
Oh, yeah, no. This is just where I've ended up. I never planned on having more than one, But yeah, I mean, if you've got 2, then I would say you put your second one on metallics because you'll do full clean outs of your airbrush 3 times and you'll still find metal flakes coming through. And that gets old.
And that's even after throwing it through a sonic cleaner, which I do as well.
Yeah, I mean, my non-metallic airbrush, there is the times that I'll do a full teardown is maybe once a year now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, mine's usually.
Well, I mean,
depending how much I paint. If it's a standard a 48 scale single seat or single engine fighter, well then it'll usually be pulled down at the. Usually I pull it down and give it a good clean before the final gloss coats. Or the final clear coats. So that way I'm guaranteed I'm running perfectly clear paint. But speaking of clear coats, what is the go with guns at the moment?
I don't know.
Their flat coats, even their premium flat coats, are leaving white dots.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, which I've been told is the talc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had that on my last model.
Stirring the hell out of it, still white spots.
Wow.
And I found it worse when I used leveling thinners. If I use straight methylated spirits, or what do they call that in America?
Denatured alcohol.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, if I use that, I don't get as much.
So I had that recently, and I just ended up scraping all the little white dots with a knife.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you have to scrape them, and sometimes you got to just put a little bit of colour over the top. Just to get rid of them, but it's really and it really picked out on the Canberra because the interior is black.
Oh wow!
So after the weathering and the paint chipping, it's all these white dots. Oh, you bugger!
Yeah,
I haven't flat coated an interior.
I'm wondering why you flat coated the interior. Why'd you flat coat the interior of the Canberra?
I mean, this is especially glossy.
Because
do you gloss it?
Yeah, I glossed it before I put the wash in.
Okay.
Because even though it's a black interior, it's still got a wash.
Yeah.
And it's still got highlights.
Okay.
And a lot of work and all that stuff just is different grades in glossiness.
The highlight's going to be mainly just sort of dry brushing anyway.
Yeah, a bit of dry brushing here and there. Because there's not, as I said before, there's no detail in the cockpit, and what detail is in the cockpit is just made up.
Oh, okay.
I said, that someone was on LSD when they did that.
See, my plan is basically I'll build my cockpit, I'll do my washes and painting and stuff, I'll close up the fuselage and put the plane together, and then I'll paint the outside of it.
Yep.
And then it's I can flat coat that, and I can flat coat the interior all at once.
Oh, no, because I always put a dab of clear on top of every dial.
Oh, yeah, but I just do that at the very end.
Yeah, if it's closed up, it's difficult to get into sometimes to get...
Nah, I haven't had that problem.
Okay.
Because if I can't...
You must have one of those paintbrushes that's got the bendable end or something.
Because if I can't get to it with a brush, then I can't see it. There's no need to do it in the first place.
You know it's there, and that's the thing with me. I know it's there, so I've got to do it.
This is one of my like sort of major revelations. If I don't worry about these things, because if I can't get to it with a brush, it'll never be seen. You know, like if you've ever painted a figure, any kind of figure, yes. Right? There'll be like, say, skirts and things like that, or coats, and there'll be little angles up in there that once you put it all together,
you won't see.
You can't get to with a brush, right? But it doesn't matter if you can't get to it with a brush, because if you can't get to it with a brush, you can't see it. Because like a brush is considered the brush your line of sight.
Yep.
You would have to turn it upside down and see it from an angle that is more narrow than the width of the brush.
Yes.
For you to not be able to get there.
I understand.
Right?
Oh, I can't wait to judge some of your models one day.
Why?
I'll be there with a torch and a loop, and I'll be holding a model upside down. I go, I found it. I found the bit that he didn't paint. 2 points off.
When was the last time you did judging?
Oh, it's been a couple of years now.
So I got nothing to worry about then.
I wouldn't know which one of your models is in there anyway. I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, it's not like you've got like a recorded record of all the models I build on a podcast.
I don't. That's right.
I've got a record of all my built models.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know what ones are yours and what ones aren't.
No, true. That's right. I've got to do some fixing up of the Shikaku before Expo too.
Yeah, you got a lot of work.
Oh, so I bought some resin. For my little 72nd scale Russian-y tractor thing.
Some resin?
Yeah. Oh. So I bought some like sort of stowage type stuff.
Okay. Oh, I thought you meant like clear resin. I thought, what are you going to submerge it in a lake or something?
No.
Because that looked cool. Submerged in a lake.
I guess.
Half submerged. That way you can do like a waterline effect. As he looks at Dave.
You guys just want him because I hate waterline ships. I don't like them.
They look good in a diorama.
No, I like seeing the full. Well, yeah, they do, but I prefer to see the full hull of the ship because it's part of the beauty of the ship.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to have fun because I've got the Combrig.
Let me put it this way. Sorry to interrupt, but let me put it this way. You would never see all aircraft modelers going nuts and having the bottom half of their model obscured by a cloud, would you? So why?
That's an interesting idea, isn't it?
So why then? It's very rare you see an aircraft modelled in its natural environment, and yet ship modelers, SHIP modelers, not that I'll mind them doing this because this is just my point of view. Yet there's a large majority of them put them into a waterline diorama. So why is it?
I have no problems with waterline dioramas as long as they haven't used the waterline model. Right?
You can't tell.
No.
You can tell. Yeah.
So like a waterline model, it's got like the bottom of it missing, right?
Yes,
the bottom of the model missing,
and then it originally came from Japan. That's where the whole movement sort of started from.
Okay, is that a sore spot for you?
No. I'm just saying, it's just going back a bit of history because that's where 1/700 scale came from because Japan didn't have a lot of room, and they were displaying him as if they were moving through the water, and therefore they did the waterline models.
Well, so if I was ever going to do a waterline model, I would do a full hull ship and then put it in a diorama. Right, so that I'd have like say a big resin thing, like for the water, and then with a big cavity in the middle, I'll then drop the ship into.
Yes,
right. That's how I would do it, because you got to build the whole ship and then put it in the diorama. You don't build part of it and then put it in the diorama.
So I've got one waterline kit in my collection, but the fun thing is I want to do a full hull, but finding plans for the shape of the hull of the HMVS Cerberus could be a challenge.
Okay.
Because the Cerberus was a monitor, which was for the Victorian Navy here, back in the 1800s?
The colony of Victoria.
The colony of the 1800s.
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
And that's a nice kit from Combrig.
It's a lovely kit.
But it's a waterline.
Yep.
It's because it's made after like photos, or not even photos, like artist impressions.
Exactly.
No one knows what's underneath the waterline.
Exactly. And if you want to see the Cerberus, it's a rusting hulk out in Port Phillip Bay, which is a real shame because if anything, that should be taken up and fully restored, in my opinion.
Too late now.
It's gone now. It's gone. But they should have done.
Yep. Should have done it back in the 1970s.
Rather than fill it full of concrete.
Yeah.
Like they did. Stupid idiots.
Anyway, Anyway, I bought some resin.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
yes, yes.
We got so many tangents. We can't explore them all. So I bought some resin. It's just some little stowage and stuff. I've got some barrels, some crates, and some little like I don't know, what do you call them, like rucksacks or something like that.
Yep,
I don't know what they are. They're there. They're little things. I'm gonna stick them in the tray in the back, and they'll fill it up. And
you know what you really need with that thing? What would look really cool with that thing? Some post-apocalyptic dude standing next to it. Because that sort of thing, that tractor looks really post-apocalyptic.
You know what?
Can you refresh my memory what model it is?
Oh, it's one of those Russian.
It looks like a
truck, but it's got tank tracks on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like a modern version would be that. What is it called? The Bat-M or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The Russian thing there where they've taken a truck cab, widened it, and they put it on like the chassis of the tank chassis of like a T-72 or something.
Yeah, gotcha.
Those things are cool. Now those are post-apocalyptic as hell.
Oh, those Russian tanks.
The more sort of modern-ish sort of ones, where it's on the T-72 base. Those things are so cool.
Yeah,
they really look like they belong in.
Because I've been looking at a lot of their post-apocalyptic modelling lately, and some of the stuff these guys are coming up with is absolutely brilliant. They've got some great imaginations.
Oh, they do. And
it really's got me. Because I got one kit I bought especially to do a post-apocalyptic model out of it.
Yeah,
and that was the MAN truck.
Oh yeah,
which I will eventually turn into the Duff wagon from the Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Is
there a kit for that already?
No, the only kit you can buy for the Mad Max or for the Americans Road Warrior is the Interceptor from Aoshima. And if you can find one, it is over $100 for a curbside 124 or 125th scale coupe.
Wow.
It is expensive. Eventually I will get one.
Yep.
I know one of our listeners, Ben Flood, he is doing that kit at the moment, and I take my hat off to you, Ben. He is doing the most amazing build. Like, he has gone through all the photos. He's dollied up the interior. He's got the dog seat in there. He's got the little police light in there. He's got the crowbar with the broken prong.
Yeah.
You name it, he's put in there, and the amount of work he's put into this thing. He's opened up one of the doors and built up the door frame and on the body of the car, and it is going to be fantastic when it's finished.
Wow.
And I've been really just watching his build on that online for the last few months. Just as soon as it comes up, bang, I'm there. I'm on it. And I'm enlarging the photos as much as I can to have a good look, and he's really inspired me. Actually that much that I think that when we've knocked off here today, I'm going to go home, I'm going to go online and try and find one. And then hassle Benny out and go, Ben, give me some tips.
So with the Russian sort of post-apocalyptic sort of thing, a lot of that's come off the back of like a lot of the video games out there.
Yep.
So there's like a lot of it started off with a game called Stalker, which is
Stalker,
based on the Stalker film, you know.
Wait, is there a film called Stalker?
Yeah, there's a film.
Because I know Stalker do miniatures. There's a company called Stalker that does post-apocalyptic miniatures.
Yeah, so there's like a whole sort of culture that's sort of building up around it in kind of like in a similar way to like say the cyberpunk genre.
And some of the dioramas they do are amazing. Like I remember, it's not actually post-apocalyptic, but it came out about 2 or 3 years ago. A guy did I think it was a Huey. And it was he did like a diorama like from the World War Z.
Oh, yeah.
And the Huey's like taken off, and there's like this pyramid of zombies climbing up to
yeah.
And it just, stuff like that just blows my mind, because I think to myself, this person has got a great creativity.
And the actually executing what they see in their mind to a beautiful sort of diorama like that. Yeah.
Same as another diorama that really piqued my interest was a guy did a Object 278, which is, I think, is that Russian tank they built.
The nuclear one.
The one
that's supposed to survive a nuclear blast.
Yeah, I've got a model of one. Mm-hmm. And a guy's built that up in a diorama of like an invasion of America. And there's like a knocked out, I don't know what it is, an American tank. I think it's before the Pattons, whatever that was.
Okay.
And a couple of guys trying to surrender, and this big Russian thing coming over, big crater in the ground, and like everything's Americana from the 1960s or 70s.
Yeah.
Looked amazing.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing. And I really want to explore that now.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of figures. There's like Masterbox are doing like some of those sort of figures. If you don't mind using their sort of figures, but there are other ones as well, other brands.
Yep.
Speaking of Masterbox, you got some of that in the modelling news as well.
Okay.
Look at.
We'll have to get to that.
Have to hook into that
in a
soon.
second.
Sure. We're yakking on just yakking
I know.
nearly 50 minutes.
So like there's quite a lot of like those video games. It's like they're like really deep. There's like the company that makes it is like 4 games deep or something. There's like there's one just based on like the Russian metro system and called Metro like 20 something or other.
Cool.
Yeah, 2043 or something like that. It's really sort of like.
So have they finally got the trains to run on time?
No. It all focuses on sort of like Cold War era looking stuff.
Yeah,
all that brutalist architecture from the Cold War, and lots of gas masks and
hammer and sickles everywhere.
Yeah, sort of scavengers and people warming their hands by fires in fuel drums. It's really sort of rich, and there's a bit of sort of Cthulhu type stuff with like. Some mutated things that lurk beneath military bases and
Excellent.
So I think we'll have a quick break.
Yep.
We'll have a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back to have a chat about what's new in the modelling world. Fine Scale Modeller is proud to support On the Bench. Fine Scale Modeller is the world's most recognised and essential magazine and is available in all good newsagents and newsstands or wherever you purchase your magazines. Alternatively, go to their website www.finescale.com and subscribe to either the print edition or the digital edition, or why not both? Go now. Go to www.finescale.com. Okay, so we're back to have a look at what's new in the modelling world, and first cab off the rank is we have from Amusing Hobby. They're once again delving into their paper panzers, and they're doing a Stage 2 self-propelled gun, which was developed by the British.
Yep.
Which we never saw. So in the 50s, the British military developed a ferocious new anti-tank gun, the 183mm 7.2-inch L4.
That's a monster of a gun.
And so Amusing Hobby are actually developing this as a kit, which is... It's the chassis of a Centurion with this great big huge box with this enormous
Kind of reminds you of
gun.
a KV-1, doesn't it?
Yeah, the British version of KV-1, that's perhaps a good sort of point.
But with a telephone pole as a gun barrel.
You know what the turret looks like? It looks like a garbage truck.
A garbage truck, yes. It's this massive box.
Yeah.
And it is a huge box.
So
imagine the noise of that thing when it fired. Wow.
So this should be available in the next 2 months from Amusing Hobby. And for those of you who enjoy building your paper panzers, this would be a great little kit for you to get.
Because they've got a photo online here too of the actual unit. And geez, it makes the commander look quite small sitting in the top there, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, like if you actually had him standing on top of the hull next to the turret, there's like a full body length and then another half before you get to the top of the turret. It's huge.
Exactly right.
It is a massive beast of a thing.
It looks like the turret belongs on a ship.
Yes,
it
exactly.
Looks like a gun turret. You're right. You're spot on.
It is massive.
Revell have announced their March releases, and first of all, they have in 1/72nd scale a DGZRS Berlin, which is their search and rescue ship. This is a Rebox. In fact, I believe I've got this in my stash somewhere, this particular one.
All right.
It builds a reasonable sort of kit. In 1/72nd scale, the railing's a little bit over scale.
So you were constant scale.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny because for rescue ships, you can only really go to 1/72nd scale. I mean, I'm thinking of the RNLI ship model. I did have that floating around. I think I still got it actually. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the smaller boats you can only do in 1/72nd scale. You can't really do in 1/350.
Like a tug.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. So it's a half decent kit. It'll make a good model once it's built, and obviously it's a sort of interesting and slightly different.
Yeah, non-military.
It's being a bit dated now with the details that come with it, but for an experienced modeler, you can perhaps bring it right up to be something that's really nice. But even your average sort of modeler can get a half decent kit out of that.
Yeah, something that looks good.
And it also comes with a Sea King in 1/72 scale to celebrate 45 years of search and rescue service. So there you go. In 1/200 scale, they're doing the bucket wheel excavator, the Shuffle Rundbagger. Yeah, my German's not good. This would really...
It looks interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of open-cut mining vehicles, the huge things.
Yeah.
And again, this is a rebox. They've done this once before, and I think it was quite hard to come by. But, geez, it looks fantastic.
It does look great, doesn't it? It'd be something, totally different.
And
it does, it's just looking at the detail for 1/200 scale. It's not too bad at all.
And certainly a very different modelling subject.
It could definitely do with photo etch rails.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's got a lot of rails on it too when you're looking at it.
Well, you don't want to fall off one of these things. No. You fall to your death. Even on the lowest level, you'd fall to your death.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if there's an aftermarket stuff for the photo etch. Although you could just go and dig out some old photo etch.
Just buy some 1/200 scale ship railing.
Yeah, you could probably do a good job there. So that looks really interesting, and I'd be quite keen to see that built by a modeler, actually.
Yeah.
But you'd have to do it almost in a diorama, wouldn't you, to get the context of it?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of how big it would be in 1/200 scale.
Does it give us a size? Usually they give us a size on this site.
No, it says what it's like in real life, 200 metre long excavator, so whatever that...
Oh, well, there, on the boxing, it says 101 centimetres.
Okay.
Oh, yep. And 687 parts. So there's a lot of bits to it.
Yeah. A lot of that would be the railings and stuff.
Yeah.
Not one to build unless you've got plenty of room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it does look very interesting.
And working in a coal mine, which is what they sort of did mostly, your weathering would be interesting, wouldn't it? Coal dust everywhere.
Definitely.
Oh, gee. In 1/24 scale is a Citroen 2CV.
2CV.
Yeah.
Coco Rico.
It's a very iconic sort of Citroen vehicle, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is like one of the later ones, I think, isn't it? Because the earlier ones had the sort of more, not corrugated exactly. Oh, is it corrugated sort of metal on the sides, on the doors and stuff? I think it was a little bit like that.
Not too sure.
It's sort of like in those days, it was sort of reminiscent of like those flat-sided doors like you see on the Kubel wagons and things.
Yes.
This one's going to be strict limited edition. Comes with an engine as well, so
full interior.
It is one of the later ones.
Rubber floor mats.
Yeah, the car guys will be really happy about that, I think.
If you're into European cars, yeah.
Next in 1/48 scale is the Eurofighter Typhoon, the Baron Spirit Decal scheme.
So the Manfred von Richthofen scheme.
Yeah.
It's got a picture of Manfred von Richthofen on the side with his DR1.
Beautiful decal, as you're saying, of Manfred von Richthofen and his...
Fokker DR1.
Yeah, on the tailplane of this. So that'd be a really great sort of kit to sort of build, and the decals look awesome. For me, Revell are sort of hit and miss sometimes with their the fit of the kit. So I'm always a bit gun shy about Revell, but I know some people in our club who built some really, really good ones. So
yeah,
that's like a 60th anniversary type thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. In 72nd scale, the BAE Hawk T1. It's a great little aircraft.
It is.
It uses a Abinto trainer for jets for a few Western Air Forces now. We've got these as well in the Australian Air Force.
Yes, we got them. Yep. In our nice grey colour schemes.
Very detailed interior kit. It can be posed with the canopy open, which is appeal to a lot of people. And for 1/72 scale, they seem to have squeezed quite a bit of detail into this. And unusually for Revell, the picture of the model that they're displaying has actually been quite well done, not sort of toy like some of their other sort of stuff. So, yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah, I could possibly get that one. In 1/72nd scale, a Junkers Ju-88A1 Battle of Britain. That'd have to be definitely Reeboks as well. Great looking kit if you like your Ju-88s. Not too much detail around the engine side of stuff, but
then again, you don't see much detail in those engines anyway.
Very true.
Yeah.
Because they got the inline engines rather than the radials.
Yes, they did. That's right. You're right there, Ed. But again, a great little kit. The detail in the cockpit is quite attractive as well. So they haven't sort of scrimped and saved on that, which is interesting. And
they really jam the people in the crew inside those cockpits of the Ju-88s. We'll keep everyone together in one little spot.
Yeah. Well, seeing the Germans had a different philosophy in regards to bombers, and it's more sort of tactical rather than strategic.
Correct.
Obviously. Speaking of which, I'm reading a great book at the moment by James Holland called Big Week. It's about the biggest air battle of World War I over Europe. And
I thought you were going to say it's about the biggest week.
Well, it's about the...
It's called Big Week, you know.
It's a really fascinating read, and it goes right into detail of the RAF Bomber Command and also the US 8th Air Force and 9th Air Force operating out of the UK against the Luftwaffe. So I thoroughly recommend that book as well. And James writes it in such a way that it's such an easy read, but got lots of sort of facts and everything in there as well. So that's really, really cool. Next up, still on Revell, we have the Albatross D3 in 1/48 scale. Number of parts, 54, which is not a large part count, really. Be interesting to see how that compares to, say, a Wingnut Wings one, actually.
Or an Edward.
Yeah, or an Edward, for that matter, as well. Yeah. I don't think of anybody I can think of who's actually built a Revell kit of the Albatross, so very interesting. And last but not least, a Mitchell B25C/D Mitchell. This is the one where the...
They've painted over the glazing.
Yes, and it's got 6 machine guns that are mounted in the nose.
Yep,
comes
4.
With, beg your pardon, 4. It comes with... No, this, and again, there's the 2 on the side as well to make up the 6.
They'll make up 8 then, Dave.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6.
6. Oh, there's 2 on either
barrels.
side.
Yes.
Thanks, Ian. Good pickup.
And they were actually an Australian invention, those gun packs.
Were they really?
Yeah, they were manufactured in Queensland.
Oh, well, there you go. You learn something every day. The decal is for Mexican Spitfire. So, yeah, it should make a nice kit. The detail is, again, is surprisingly good for Revell, actually. The bomb bay looks to be quite well detailed.
So I'm wondering if actually it's actually, I think it's a reboxing of the Accurate Miniatures kit.
Oh, do you think so?
Yep, I'm just having a look at... if you scroll down a little bit further, Dave, and you have a look at the engine...
Yeah.
You'd have to get new engine cowls because the openings is way too small.
Ah, okay.
Which was the main problem they had with the Accurate Miniatures kit.
Okay.
You had to really open up that hole because it's obscuring like 3/4 of the engine.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas if you look at a real Mitchell, it's totally different.
Next up, in 1/24 scale, we have a VW New Beetle. So the more recent sort of Beetle.
It's a snap together kit too.
Ah, good pickup.
Easy click system they call it.
So the kit comes already pre-painted. So the body's coloured, the metal axles and screws are all coloured. No painting required or gluing required. Just snap it off the sprue and stick it together.
A great one to get the kids involved.
Their example still has everything painted though.
Yeah.
Their promotional photos.
Are you sure that's not pre-painted, the body?
The body's very shiny blue.
If you look at the photos of it made up, you can see it's all sort of metallic-y looking paint.
They've changed it from just a standard blue to a metallic blue.
Yeah, but it's saying their coloured body.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot of the, I know Revell used to do it a lot in the 70s and 80s with their 24 scale muscle car kits. They used to come with, some of them even came with metal flake.
Oh, really?
Metal flake. So basically all you have to do is just polish the body and glue everything on. But it's not the same as painting it because it's still, even though you polish it, it still looks like coloured plastic. You need to put paint on it to get rid of that colour.
It's often the same with, I think, Bandai. I think they often do similar sort of things to, because you want to show off your product in its best form, right? So even if it's in the plastic comes in the right colours, they'll still show it off painted because it looks better.
Correct.
And it covers up all the sort of like, flow marks on the plastic and things like that.
Okay. Next up we have from
Masterbox.
Yes, they are doing in 1/35th scale World War II Germans and 18th century American native sets. So the World War II Germans is a German Stug 3 crew from early part of the war, I'm assuming, and comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crew members.
Which you find amazing. If you actually see it, there's actually a photo somewhere showing a cutaway from Germany, from a German cutaway of a Stug and where the crew sits. And they're literally sitting on top of each other.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of room in those tanks. And as I said, they're doing also some 18th century Indians, North American Indians.
Nice looking figures.
1, 2, 3, 4. Geez, you'd have to be really good at painting to get those, because they've got all their war paint on and everything. So, and the feathers that they're wearing. They've been quite accurate and very detailed looking. But geez, as I said, you'd have to be a really good sort of modeler to sort of get.
It'd be great for a painting challenge.
Oh. Yeah, I think I'll steer away from that. My painting.
Be something Chris Howes from our club would do.
And to be clear, like these two kits are not in the same box. They're two separate boxes. Because it would be a bit weird for, a Stug to be fighting American Indians.
That's all I've got for modelling news, unless you guys got anything new that you want to add.
No, not really.
If I have, I've forgotten it.
The only other thing I've got to mention that's new is the new Tom Hanks movie, the USS Greyhound, that's been dropped.
Is it called? No, Greyhound. I think Greyhound's
the name of the
convoy.
Yes,
and I think he's a Fletcher
class destroyer captain,
and it's his first stint.
His first stint taking a convoy across, and the convoy sort of, cops it a real beating.
It looks good.
Having a look at the
shorts to it.
Yeah, it does. It looks really, really good.
It's about time we got a decent tin can movie.
Yeah, I know. And I believe there's another one that's coming up too. A destroyer set in the Pacific, though.
Oh, good. That's one I'd probably prefer, the Pacific campaign.
Yeah, but it depends whether it's done properly or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've struggled. I mean, I went and saw the new Midway one. It was all right, but...
Well, I saw recently, I actually bought on Blu-ray and watched it, was Ford versus Ferrari.
Was it a good movie?
It was brilliant. Absolutely. It's more about the relationship of Carroll Shelby and Ken Miles, the British racing car driver.
Yeah.
But it is brilliant. It is, like, I've lent it to a few people already, and these people aren't car heads.
Yeah.
And even they've turned around and said it's probably one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. So anyone, if you like your classic sports cars and muscle cars from the mid to late 60s, go see this movie. It is everything you could wish for. It is great, especially watching right near not wanting to give away, but watching Ferraris screaming down the track, and all of a sudden a big white pall of smoke going behind him was just music to my ears. Oh, there goes another engine. Sorry, Enzo.
Yeah,
it also goes into the politics of Ford.
Oh, okay.
How Henry Ford II they were lagging.
Yeah.
And thus they wanted to buy Ferrari because they wanted to compete against Corvettes.
Yeah.
Because the Corvettes were just outselling Ford. Ford was just getting hammered by General Motors at that time. And then with the way Enzo Ferrari basically... But the way this movie portrays is Enzo Ferrari used Ford to get a better price for his company through Fiat.
Yeah.
And said some quite insulting things about Henry Ford II and his company, and that's when Henry Ford asked Leo Okoko, he says, so what exactly did he say? And Leo Okoko says, to the word what Enzo said, and that's when Ford's just gone, that's it, we're going to bury him. And then they got Carroll Shelby on board because they were quite impressed with the Cobras and the Daytona Coupes. Because the amazing thing about Ken Miles, a racing car driver, British fellow from, I think, Northern England. He was one of those rare breeds that actually did majority of the own work on his race cars. So not only was he a very, very top driver, but he was also a top mechanic and ideas man. And that's why the Shelbys went so well, because he was on the team and he'd just take it out for a run, the new car, and he'd go, right, no, we need to do this, and he'd do it all himself. And then bang, next thing you know, the car would just run. Perfect.
Well, you could do it back in those days. You can't do that sort of thing these days.
Nah,
it's
not
too
now.
specialised.
Too specialised now. But it's just, I said, it is a brilliant movie. It is well done. The storyline's great. Look, there's a lot of inaccuracies. Being Hollywood, there'd be a lot of inaccuracies and making it prettier for the audience. But it is a great car movie. It is a great car movie.
And we haven't had a good car movie since
Rush.
Rush, yeah.
Which is another great car movie.
It is.
But it's got Cobras, Daytona Coupes, it's got Corvettes, it's got Ferraris, GT40s. It goes right into the GT40s. It even finishes off with the J car that Ken Miles died in. Aston Martins, you name it, from the European and American racing circuit from the mid to late 60s, it's there.
And of course,
all glory.
The other two great car movies, which weren't really about cars but featured cars in them, would have to be the original Italian Job with the Mini Miners.
And I didn't mind the remake.
Oh, no, I hated the remake.
I didn't mind the remake.
And another one which stands out as one of the best crash scenes ever, it would have to be the Blues Brothers. With all those police cars.
Yeah, Blues Brothers.
Oh,
yes.
that was just,
And you got the cars that ate Paris.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, and of course, Mad Max. We can't go past Mad Max.
Mad Max 4 movies.
Yeah.
That's all car orientated.
Yeah.
Gumball Rally. There's a classic.
Oh, there is a classic, yeah.
The Gumball Rally.
Yeah.
That's the original Ford versus Ferrari movie. So, got the Italian guy racing his late model Ferrari up against the Americans in their 427 Shelby Cobra.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Classic
Good.
stuff, mate. Yeah.
So getting back to the original, I'm looking forward to Greyhound, which looks like a really good movie. I'm really keen to find out what's happening with Peter Jackson and his movie about the Dam Busters. I haven't heard anything happening with that
yet either.
And then, of course, we've got the mini-series about the 8th Air Force, which is coming out soon.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that.
So a lot of time will be taken away from the bench.
Oh, no, that's the, inspirational side of stuff. Yeah. And,
because that's usually, when you think about it, that's what usually gets us in. We'll watch a movie and go, oh yeah. And then we'll go, oh, where's that kit? And go buy that kit.
Well, you're still waiting on the Ming GD40 to come out, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. The Ming GD40 would be a beautiful kit to get your hands on. Really would be. Really would be.
So not a car builder. Don't do anything for me.
Don't mind them.
Don't mind the odd motorcycle here and there.
Yeah. Me, I just try and build whatever I can.
Yeah.
The more different subjects you tackle, the more skills you end up getting.
You haven't built a car model for a while, have you?
Last car model I built was that was about 2 years ago. That was the Plymouth Superbird. So I should do one this year. I've got enough in the stash.
I tell a lie. I've built a Kumbelwagen.
A Kumbelwagen?
Yeah. So that classifies as a car.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
Just see the look that Julian's
a German Jeep.
Yes, a German version of a Jeep.
Oh no,
well, it wasn't even really a German version of a Jeep because the Jeep outclassed and ran circles around it.
Yeah, I mean it's more like a military spec V-dub Beetle, right?
Yeah, you're right there.
It was done with Ferdinand Porsche, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Volkswagen?
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I know the history too well. So speaking of movies, what other movies? I mean, because I know a lot of guys will have a movie playing in the background while they're modelling. So let's have a bit of a sort of wander down that sort of avenue and have a quick chat about what sort of movies we like when we're
I wouldn't
modelling.
mind doing a Vanishing Point Challenger.
What's a Vanishing Point Challenger? What's that?
The movie Vanishing Point.
Yeah.
Right? It's about this fellow who's drives a white Dodge Challenger.
1970 Challenger, isn't it?
Never seen the movie.
Yeah, something like that. 1970, 71, something like that.
Never seen the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Very 70s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same as another one, The Bullet.
Oh, yeah.
The dark green
yes.
2+2 Mustang. And the
yeah.
1968, I think it is, Dodge Charger, 67, 68 Dodge Charger, the black one.
Yeah.
That'd be great in a little diorama scene as they're going over the hills, the hill there in San Francisco as they're getting them, starting to get them airborne, doing the big chase. Just a great movie. Storyline's crap, but the cars are great.
Yeah, you don't go see the storyline, do you?
Nah, you go see the cars, mate. Go see the cars.
So what's your other big movies that have inspired war? Let's stick on World War II movies or war movies that have really sort of
inspired me.
Yeah.
Well, so not so much inspired, most of it's the accuracies that really makes me just go, nah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, like we talk about like all these sort of war movies that come out, and I have zero interest because I know there's going to be something that disagrees with me. I just sort of like, yeah, whatever. I just let it pass.
With me, it's more it's more what I see on YouTube. The YouTube documentaries, you see something. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to chase that one up.
But a lot of the recent documentaries treat you like an idiot. Then they sort of repeat the same sort of thing, which annoys me.
The History Channel.
The worst is the sort of 1990s era, sort of like very American for general consumption, not for history buff consumption sort of documentaries, where they're talking about World War II and they're using words like and this was all part of Hitler's plan to dominate the world. It's like you don't need to sort of make it so sensationalist. It's just a documentary. It's not a movie.
My pet hate, they're talking about like a P-51 Mustang, but what's on the screen is like a P-47 Thunderbolt. It's like, at least get the vehicle correct. This is not the original Charlton Heston Battle of Midway movie, like where the aeroplane changes 5 different models in 5 seconds.
Yes.
Where actually, I remember talking to someone, I think it was last Friday the Friday before at the club meeting, and we were mentioning that, and someone actually mentioned, if you really look, there's a couple of scenes there where they're actually landing Grumman Panthers.
Yeah.
Now, how the heck does a Korean War Grumman Panther get all the way back to 1942, 43 for the Battle of Midway?
Yeah. Speaking of which, one of my favourite movies have to be Tora.
Still is to me too.
Still stands up.
Yep. Tora is still a great movie. Yep. Lots of great model building, lots of great sets.
Yes.
They really, really did a great job on that.
They did do a great job on that.
And nothing has come close.
The other movies I find, because I struggle with inaccuracies, and especially when things, somebody chucks a grenade, you get this great big, huge ball of flame, which doesn't happen. I mean, you throw a grenade, it's like just a dirty sort of smudge. It goes boof.
Yeah, and it's the shrapnel that does it.
Shrapnel does it.
Yeah.
So movies or miniseries I found, or the movies that I found quite extremely good and quite accurate would have to be the Thin Red Line.
Yes.
Very underrated movie.
That's got Airacobras in it too.
Yes, it does.
That's what really got me about Thin Red Line. It got P400 Airacobras.
Yep. So very accurate movie, highly underrated.
See, my favourite war movie doesn't have any vehicles in it.
Hey, what is it?
Which one is it? Enemy at the Gates.
Oh, it's got some tanks in it.
The sniper one.
Yeah, it's got some tanks in it.
That's actually quite a good movie, actually.
Yeah.
But actually, have you seen the Russian Stalingrad movie?
No, I haven't.
That's pretty good. That's got
really?
some good stuff in it. Yeah, that's got a lot of Panthers. Oh, not Panthers. Panzer IVs and so forth.
Okay. I'll have to dig that one out and have a look at that one.
The thing that got me with that Enemy of the Gates is the aircraft that's crashed in the middle of the city.
Mm.
Okay.
It's a Siebel 204. I'm like, how rare is that? A Siebel. Like you'd expect everyone to go, it's going to be a Heinkel or a Ju-88 or something common.
Yeah.
But no, they threw a Siebel 204 in there, and it's like, whoa. Most people wouldn't even know what a Siebel is.
Yeah. I don't. I don't know what that is.
It's a transport aircraft, a light transport aircraft the Germans used during the Second World War.
Okay.
And that just got me. It's like, now that's someone who actually knew their history.
And did some research.
Unlike freaking Mr. Emmerich with his Midway, from what you told me.
Oh, dear. No, don't let me talk about the latest Midway movie. Oh.
But then again, because we read a bit on the history, the actual history, a lot of these Hollywood movies, they don't need to glam up. If they just followed what actually happened, you would make some of the most exciting, nail-biting movies you'd ever see.
Absolutely, I agree 100%
because real life, what happened in real life was absolutely amazing. You're reading about some of these guys, and I was been reading about Joe Foss, the naval pilot from World War II. That guy was a freaking... one mission, I think he shot down 9 aircraft.
Yeah.
in one mission. And after the war, he did so much. He ran some part of the American Football League. He did started a thing over for kids with cancer and disabilities. He had his own talk show.
Why do you need to sort of glamorise and go... Why step away from the true narrative when the true narrative is even more exciting than what they're portraying in the actual movie? Yeah, I know. It drives me nuts.
And like visually, like I always think visually, like one of the most spectacular things I think you'd see on a big screen would be the Americans trying to take back Fort Drum.
Yes.
Where you got Julian being Filipino, you'd know about Fort Drum.
Nah,
that's in. I think it's in Manila Harbour.
It was an island.
It's an island, and they basically
built it up to be a battleship, an immovable battleship.
Yeah, it basically just made this concrete foundation on top of this island,
even shaped like a ship.
Yeah, and put like ship turrets and everything on it. And when the Japanese took the Philippines, they took Drum Island.
Okay,
Fort Drum.
Even that was a battle in taking it. The Japanese originally,
but when the Americans came back. The Japanese, they were not going to surrender.
Yeah.
And there was no point trying to get into it because it would have just been booby-trapped and they would have been hanging around any corner. So the Americans just filled it full of a couple of 1,000 gallons of fuel and then threw some charges down there and took off. And they reckon the explosion was something that no one will ever see again. And that visually would look spectacular on the big screen.
It would also look like war crimes or something like that,
No, not really.
It's a bit too, on the nose, I think, for viewers. But, I mean, I've been to Manila, I've been to the Philippines, and I went to Intramuros, which is, I believe it translates to something like inside the wall or something like that.
Right.
Basically, it's like an old Spanish fort, and it forms the original center of Manila.
That's what had that massive battle.
Yeah.
I've seen the documentary. That was like corner-to-corner fighting.
Yeah.
To try and get the Japanese out.
Yeah, so you go there today, and it's like, okay, there's the wall. It's like thick out. It's like an old-fashioned fort, and but there's all like regular buildings on the inside of it.
Yep.
And on the outside of it. But you can still like see all the holes in the wall and this and that, and
I remember when I was a youngster, I went over with my mum took me and my sister to Holland.
Sorry, I should before we sort of move along. So basically, Intramuros, even though it's a Spanish fort, it was used by the Japanese, and they defended it against the Americans.
Yep.
And continue.
Yeah, and we went to Holland, and I went to Arnhem. And you're going around Arnhem, and still street corners, there's still like bullet and shrapnel holes everywhere, and they just keep it there.
Yeah.
It's still there for everyone to see. Like, a friend of mine went to Guadalcanal a few years ago, and he reckons he was just wandering, and he reckons every 2 foot you kick the sand, there's a med kit.
Yeah,
my friend, med kit.
One of my uncles, he's a doctor, and his wife's a doctor, and he owns some plot of land somewhere in the Philippines where he takes his full drive, right? Goes full driving, which is not a very common hobby in the Philippines unless you've got the money to blow on that sort of thing. But this plot of land has some structures on there built by the Japanese.
Oh, right, like pillboxes and so forth.
Yeah, I've only heard about it sort of secondhand, so I don't. I haven't been there myself because apparently it's a bit out of the way. Yeah. But I mean, it's the kind of thing like throughout the Philippines and the South Pacific, these structures exist. No one's knocking them down. They're too remote,
And they're concrete.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to knock down concrete.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, it's kind of worrying, right? Because if you go poking around there, there's going to be explosives and other things. You'd rather not stand on one of those.
I'd be more worried about tetanus. Cruising around there, all the rusty bits of formwork and reinforcing from the concrete. Because that concrete will
I wouldn't have to worry because the only way I'd go to the place is if I went with my uncle, who's a doctor.
Oh, if he's a doctor, yeah.
The other two, they were miniseries too. It was done by Tom Hanks and
Band of Brothers.
And the
Pacific.
Yeah, and the Pacific was really good, and obviously Band of Brothers was really good. But they really sort of aimed to get the realism down.
Correct.
And they did an excellent job. That's why I'm really excited about the new miniseries, about the 8th Air Force, because that should be... Hopefully.
Because this Greyhound, I originally thought, because Tom Hanks was in, I originally thought this was going to be a miniseries.
No, I originally knew it was a movie, yeah.
A movie, yeah. Because I know that he's heavily in with this, and well, he was he part of the Pacific of the production team?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he was those two, and he's part of the production team for the 8th Air Force.
Yep.
And wasn't there a rumour that they were also going to do a naval movie?
Yeah, and this is,
destroyers.
I think...
or a series, I should say.
I don't know about a series, but there's certainly another movie that's in the works about I think it might have been during the kamikaze attacks where a destroyer is a picket ship and keeps getting hit by kamikazes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be what the movie is being based on. Whether Tom Hanks is involved with that, I don't know. I'd have to go on to IMDb and have a look and see what they've got to say. But there's been some hits and misses. I still haven't seen 1917 yet. So.
Me neither. From what I've heard, it's good. It's very good.
Yeah, all right. I'll have to go, and I don't know if it's still in the cinemas or not.
Mm. But we need a good naval movie.
We do,
because the last a great one would be the Philippine Sea. Was it Taffy 3?
Yeah.
When we
Battle of Leyte Gulf.
Yeah, when we got our bums handed to us by the Japanese at the night.
Oh, no, that's Battle of Savo Island. Yeah, the Guadalcanal campaign.
Because that was the one thing the Japanese had over us the whole time is their night fighting ability.
That's not because they practiced. Yeah. That's the only reason.
Because I read a report about that. The Japanese admiral actually asked the rest of the fleet, please, no more star shells, because that was just making it worse. Because the Allied ships were that much on burning that brightly, you could see them from miles away. Yeah, absolute miles away. And then when you read about the Gambier Bay and how those poor buggers were just basically just bad luck. They were all right until they did the fleet change direction, which put them right at the back in the range of Yamato's guns.
But the destroyer captains were the absolute heroes.
Oh, yeah, going in on their own.
So here we go, little American destroyers, destroyer escorts, full speed, full attack into it.
The Laffey.
Yeah, USS Laffey, I think it is.
It took on the Hay.
Yeah.
At point blank range, went alongside the Hay.
God.
And the biggest the Laffey had was, I think, 5-inch guns. Yep. And the Hay had, I think, 10 or 12.
Oh, I don't know.
But they got that close that the Japanese couldn't
bear down, couldn't elevate the guns down. Just the heroic, and this is why not make a movie about that? I mean, how exciting is that?
I can tell you why they won't make a movie about that.
Because
the Americans, because the Americans get their ass kicked.
Well, no, they actually won.
We won, yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like, you can make a movie about a point in history where the Americans have lost. But you can as long as you follow it up at the end of the movie with a victory, it becomes like a overcoming adversary narrative, right?
Yep.
The reason why you won't get anything is because you need someone like Peter Jackson who knows the history and recognize the history and can see how that can be translated into a good movie. Every other director is more along the artsy sort of line of things, and they want to go, well, this historical thing doesn't give me room to explore, create my own sort of things.
Or it might even
they want to create their own things. They don't want to.
Plus, they've got to
be handed a script.
Plus, they've got to pander to the leftist brigade.
But
everything's got to be polished and cleaned.
But the historical battle itself of Leyte Gulf is just so riveting and exciting. You wouldn't. I mean, you could just write the script from the history pages of the official history of World War II from the US Navy, and it would be the best script ever.
Yeah. Another one actually, which wouldn't even have anything to do with combat.
What's that?
Would be a movie on the Honda Point disaster.
Oh, where all those destroyers ran aground.
Like 8 or 10 American destroyers ran aground.
Yeah.
Because of and it all came because of an earthquake in Japan.
Wow.
Because that apparently that threw something out, so all their navigation, because they were just new on the radar, and that threw everything out. So they were actually thought they were further south than they were. So they were actually about 40 miles or something north. So when they've done their turn to go in through there was like a little bay section they go through.
Yep.
I'm not very familiar with the US coastline, the west coast of America, I'm afraid. But yeah, they ended up just coming way too high and in, and bang, it was one after another, bang, bang.
Because they're all following each other in,
yeah. And it was just, and just reading about it, it's like, geez, there's some heroic stuff happened there. We're trying to save each other, and it's amazing. So all these ideas we're throwing. Come on, people, if you're a movie producer, listen to it.
Well, actually, that I would love to hear what you guys out there think, and then love to find out what your favourite inspiring movie is.
Or what you would like to see on the big screen, done properly.
Too, shoot us an email at onthebench64@gmail.com.
Or throw it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, that'd be a really cool idea. Very good.
Sure.
Now,
my knowledge of naval stuff is very, 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 very small.
Well, it doesn't have to be naval.
So when you guys start waffling on about various things, right over my head.
It doesn't have to be naval. It could be like maybe a decent movie on the Battle of Kursk.
Well,
that'd be pretty interesting to see on the big screen.
I reckon they'd probably be better served, narrative-wise, to stay away from any particular battle and just follow a person. Just pick one of the Medal of Honor recipients and just document that, you know? That'd be fine.
Redo the Audie Murphy movie.
Any notable character, just make a movie about him. That way you've got like one main character, you can follow him through.
I think how they've done, let's see, there's a movie on Richthofen, about German movie, which I still reckon is a pretty decent war movie.
There's the old movie about, what's that, Spitfire pilot or whatever his name
Douglas
is.
Bader?
Yeah, Douglas Bader.
Hurricane Pilot, yep.
That was a good movie. Douglas Bader movie was a good movie, actually.
But see, that's how you do it. You just pick one guy.
The Hacksaw Ridge, which is about the young guy who was...
Yes.
Conscientious objector.
Yes.
Yeah. That was actually quite a good movie.
That was, yes.
Yeah, I must admit that was quite well done.
What else is there? There's a few.
There's quite a few movies about
individuals, yeah.
There's that movie that was recently done, had about the US Coast Guard that went out to rescue a ship off the east coast of the US.
Yes.
It's got the guy who plays Captain Kirk as the actor.
Yeah, that was actually that wasn't. Was that on the? Or was that on the lake?
No, it was at sea, and that was a really good movie.
That was the one with the it was a cargo ship and was
being
cracked in half or something.
Being Marine Rescue, I really got into that.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, there's also the recent 1917 movie. That's one guy going all the way through the movie, isn't it?
Two guys, I think.
Is it two guys?
Two guys, yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Now, I have got a bit of a call out for Michael and David from our sister podcast over in Kentucky.
Ah, yes, good friends.
Yeah, those banjo picking, whiskey sipping hayseeds. Now,
who really drink good bourbon. Thank you, guys.
Well, the thing is, because obviously they talk about what their drinks are before they sort of start their show, what their their modelling lubricant is. And David over there was saying he's trying to find some Aussie beer, and he was looking for Foster's.
No, don't be silly. Foster's is the, excuse my French, is the kangaroo piss we export.
Exactly.
And that's what it is. It's kangaroo urine. It is not good beer.
No one drinks it here.
No one drinks it here because we're smarter.
Yeah. It's actually very popular in the UK.
Yes. Well, I don't think they know much better over there.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's
they drink warm beer.
Yeah, but is it necessarily imported? It might be like actually manufactured locally, you know?
It's probably sent over as a syrup like they do with Coca-Cola. Just add a bit of carbonated water and you'll be right. No, look, we'll Dave and I had a bit of a chat about this earlier, and to our friends in Kentucky, we're going to have a search and see what we can do about helping you out, getting you some beers,
some decent beer,
some good Aussie beer,
and then shipping it across there,
yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Yep, might even throw in a few Mars bars and cherry rights and that.
And you know what they're going nuts for over there?
What's that?
Violet crumbles.
Oh, well, easily done. We've got plenty of them here. Yeah. Just don't ask for toilet paper because we got none.
Yeah.
Stupid people. God.
For some reason, the
coronavirus
scare, COVID-19 scare, is sending Australians into epileptic fits, going out and panic buying, get this, toilet paper.
Yep.
Of all the things to panic buy, we're panic buying toilet paper. What does that say about our society?
We like a clean bum.
Oh my Lord.
It's quite embarrassing.
It's very embarrassing. You know, if we went out, if we panic bought, and got like soup or rice or flour,
water,
I can understand it.
Yeah.
But Australians' first thing, we need to get more toilet paper. It's crazy.
That's madness.
What a mad world we live in.
Yes.
Oh dear. Well, I think what we better sort of wrap it up there, gents.
Sure.
We're,
I've got to head off soon.
Yes, because you got a.
I've got a new bed delivery today. Oh, so I'll be sleeping on a new bed tonight. Ooh, no more sleeping on a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, so we really haven't had a topic tonight today. It's sort of just been sort of.
Well, free form.
Free fall. Yep.
I like free flow sometimes. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Love
Breaks
things.
it up.
It
Let's just talk about sort of, issues that sort of are too small to make a whole episode around.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Gets things off our chests.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Totally agree.
All right, Ian, from you.
Photo etch is your friend.
Julian.
Buy more tools.
Oh, that's a
it.
good one.
I've done that one before.
Yeah, he's done it before.
You got to keep that one.
Yeah, I know.
That's a
It's
a
keeper.
keeper. That's
I know,
a
but my
keeper.
memory's terrible, so it's taken like a good 6 months for me to remember it.
I'll just write that down,
And
Julian.
Dave hasn't even got a catchphrase.
I don't need a catchphrase. I'm just Dave.
Yeah, he just has to throw it to us.
Dave. It's Dave.
All right, guys. Thanks very much. We'll be back in a fortnight.
Bye-bye.
Well, we hope you enjoyed our latest episode. Thanks for listening. Of course, if you want to listen to some more model podcasting shows, we highly recommend our good friends over in Canada, Stuart and Anthony, with their great show, the Scale Model Podcast. And of course, there's those good friends of ours, Mike and David, down in Kentucky, the banjo-picking, whiskey-sipping friends of ours. That's another great little show, so tune in and have a listen to them. If you want to drop us a line, please send your emails to onthebench64@gmail.com. We love hearing from you, and we always answer your emails, and of course we read them out in the show as well. So if you've got any thoughts, anything you sort of strikes your fancy, feel free just to send us an email. And of course, don't forget, we have our Facebook page as well, On The Bench. So just type into the Facebook search engine On The Bench and you'll find us there. Great little community of people sort of starting to gather there as well. Thanks for listening with us. We'll be back in a fortnight. Bye-bye.